Okay, what was the last thing we discussed yesterday? Okay, talked about kingdoms, and I think we ended on bacteria, right? Kingdom, Protoctist, Kingdom, all of them were done. Yeah, so last period was bacteria. Okay. Today we have to start from the groups within animal and plant kingdom. If I'm not wrong. We have to start from here. All right. Okay, let's start. All right. We are starting from your groups within animal and plant kingdom. Okay, so within each kingdom, biologists basically classify organisms into smaller groups. In the animal group, in the animal kingdom, these groups include vertebrates and invertebrates. You can say vertebrates and arthropods. Okay, so if you're studying the vertebrates first, let's talk about vertebrates. So we're talking about animal kingdom, and then we're talking about vertebrates in the animal kingdom. Okay, so we're talking about vertebrates. Vertebrates are animals that have backbone, you know that. And there are the most familiar animals: fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals. The most common five groups that everyone knows. Alright. Animals with backbone. They are animals with backbone. The most familiar animals. You have fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals. The most famous five groups of animals that are vertebrates. Alright. So now we're talking about fish first. So fish all live in water, apart from few species like mud skippers that are able to come onto land for short periods of time. Okay, let's talk about the characteristic features. They're vertebrates. So we'll say vertebrates with scaly skin. Alright, they have gills throughout their life. I mean, like as in amphibians, like they develop into lungs as well. They have fins. Their eggs have no shells and are laid in water. Eggs have no shells and are laid in water. Have no shells and are laid in water. Then you have amphibians. So most amphibians, adult amphibians live on land, okay, but they always go back to water for breeding. So the breeding takes place in water, okay. The larvae are called tadpoles, and they spend first part of life in water, and then they undergo metamorphosis, that is basically changing the shape of their body, okay, as they become adults. Alright, so they start the life, or spend first part of their life, spend the first part of their life, spend the First part of life in water. Okay. And then they undergo metamorphosis. That is basically a major change in their body as they become an adult. And then they undergo metamorphosis. 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 All right. As they become adults. Right. So that is basically they develop lungs and then they start to live on land as well. Okay. So examples are frogs, toads, salamanders are all amphibians. Quickly, their features: vertebrates with skin and with no scales. So they are basically vertebrates with skin with no scales. With no scales. Eggs have no shells and laid in water. And are laid in water. Tadpoles live in water, adults live on land. Tadpoles have gills for gas exchange, adults have lungs. That is through metamorphosis. Is everyone clear? The two groups? Yes. Is everyone clear?
Yes.
Okay, rest of you. Alia and who else is left? Emmett. Here, both of you?
Yes.
Okay, great. Let's move on then. Now let's talk about reptiles. Okay. So reptiles are basically crocodiles, lizards, and turtles, tortoise. Okay. Reptiles all have scales on their skin, unlike amphibians, and they do not need to go back to water to breathe because their eggs have basically a soft but waterproof shell that allows them from uh, does not allow them to dry out. Okay, prevents them from drying out. Okay, so they have scales on their skin. I will say vertebrates with scaly skin. Yes, they're vertebrates. So vertebrates with scaly skin. Sorry. Lay eggs on land with soft shells. Alright. Birds. Birds have, evolved from dinosaurs. I don't know if you guys knew that. Alright. And some biologists have even considered them, as dinosaurs with feathers. Alright. So birds are easy to identify. Why? Because they have distinct features. They are the orny animals with feathers. Okay. But sometimes they do have, scales like reptiles. right? But generally only on their legs. Okay. Other very distinctive feature is their beak. So they are basically, they have feathers and they have a beak, right? So feathers. Again, vertebrates with feathers. One second. Let me just reshare this. One second. One second. Okay. So they're vertebrates with feathers, sometimes few scales. Few scales on feet. Okay, then they have a beak. Memorize, yes. See, I don't think they will ask you to write the features of any group, okay? But they can ask you distinctive features, like, as in how can you differentiate this from in this group from other groups. So for that, yes, you will have to learn them. Okay. I mean, I've summarized them. They're not a lot, like maybe 2, 2, 3, 3. So I hope this is memorization. You have to learn this, and this makes no sense as well. This is just you need to learn them. Okay, there's no concept involved. I mean, they have a beak, so they have a beak. We can't really do anything about it, right? Okay, then you have yes, front two limbs are wings. But do you think all birds can fly? Do you have any example of a bird which cannot fly? Anyone?
Chicken.
Okay, anything else?
Penguins.
Penguins are birds.
Yes.
Really? Ducks. Okay, yeah, some chickens can fly actually. So, but yeah, okay, fine, you can consider them. The penguins are birds, good. Okay, fine, yeah. And ducks, okay. So ducks, yes, good. Swans as well, okay. Ostrich? Ostrich is also bird, right? Ostrich is a bird, right? Yes, ostrich is a bird. Yes, flamingos are bird. Yeah, I don't think they also fly. Yeah, good. Wow. You guys know too much about animals. Nice. Right. Yeah, ostrich as well, right? Ostriches also cannot fly, right? So they're also very huge birds, right? Okay, yes, good. Flamingos, ducks, penguins, all of them. Okay, good. Right. So usually birds, what we say, their front two limbs are wings. Their front two are wings, but not all birds can fly. Like we just saw the examples. And they lay their eggs with hard shells. Lay eggs. This with hard shells. Good. All right. Moving on to mammals. Very important. We are mammals. Sorry. Okay, so mammals are very, most familiar vertebrates because obviously we are mammals. So Even people who have not studied biology often use the word animal to mean mammal, right? But of course, uh, we are mammals. Now, the features of mammals are shared with birds as well, right? For example, both mammals and birds control the body temperature, that is homeostasis. We will talk about it later, inshallah. And we also have a heart with four chambers, okay, just like the bird, in compartments basically. So mammals also give birth to live young, okay. But again, this is not helpful in identifying them because many fish and reptiles also do this, right? So we can't really do anything about it. Okay. So easiest way to identify a mammal is as that its skin has hair. Okay. And looking more closely, we find that ears have a pinna. Pinna is basically it's the air flap on the outside, and that they have different kinds of teeth. Okay, we are heterodont, different types of teeth. Canines, incisors, molars, premolars. All right, but it is the method of reproduction and caring for the young that is the most distinctive features, right? Because only mammals have uterus and placenta. No other group has this. So we have uterus and placenta, and only mammals have mammary glands. That's why it's called mammary glands because only mammals have it. So that produces milk to feed the young ones. But so quite a lot of characteristic features. Firstly, hair on skin. Right, placenta and uterus, mammary glands. We are heterodont, that means different types of teeth. We have a pinna, air flap, and other types of teeth as well. We have canines, incisors, molars, and premolars. Sweat glands, yes, another one. And we also have diaphragm, okay. But most distinctive are, placenta, uterus, mammary glands that no one other has. Is this clear? Any questions?
No.
Okay, quickly note this down. Then we're gonna talk about your arthropods, and then we're gonna move on. Okay, quickly note this down. We're done. Yes, yes, I'm scrolling down. Here.
Yes, I still have to write amphibians.
Sir, one second. Okay, here. Alright, done. Please write fast, man, because we have a lot to cover. I'll wait another minute and then I'll move on. Alright, I'm moving on now. How much is left?
I'm done.
Okay, rest of you?
I'm done.
Alright, then let's move on. Now we're talking about arthropods. Okay, so arthropods are animals with jointed legs but no backbones. No backbone, sorry. This is the invertebrates. Okay, so they have a very successful group because they have waterproof exoskeleton, very important. Exoskeleton supports the arthropod bodies and also allows the animals to live on land without drying out. So there are more kinds of arthropod in the world than any, than all the other kinds of animals. Okay, so what are they? They have several pairs of jointed legs. And they have an waterproof exoskeleton. And what do they have? They have no backbone. They're invertebrates. Okay, they have several different groups. So the groups are insects, crustaceans, arachnids, and myriapods. Insects, crustaceans, crustaceans, arachnids. Sorry. And you have myriapods. Okay, firstly, let's talk about insects. So they are a very successful group of arthropods. And success is usually because of their exoskeleton and trachea, okay, which are very good at stopping water from evaporating from the insects' bodies. Okay, so they're mainly terrestrial. Terrestrial means that they're land loving. All right. So terrestrial. Alhamdulillah. So I will say they are arthropods with three pairs of jointed legs. That makes it six. Three pairs of jointed legs. Two pairs of wings. Okay, one or maybe one or both may be vestigial. That means you don't really, use them. One or both may be vestigial. They breathe through tubes. That is called trachea. So they have a trachea just like humans. EAE. Trachea. Okay. Body is divided into head, thorax, and abdomen. Into head, thorax, and abdomen. And then they have one pair of antenna. Antenna. Alright. Then let's move on to crustaceans. The crustaceans are crabs, lobsters, wood lice. They breathe through gills and they live in aquatic places. So they're usually, they live in wet places. So they are usually aquatic. That is, they live in water. Okay. So arthropods with more than four pair of jointed legs. Arthropods with more than four pairs of jointed legs. And they have two pairs of antenna. Then I have arachnids. Arachnids are basically spiders, ticks, scorpions, and they're generally land-dwelling organisms. So live on land. Okay, so generally land-dwelling organisms. Live on land. Okay, they are arthropods with four pairs of jointed legs. Like spiders, like they have 8 legs. With four pairs of jointed legs. Like that was the common feature of all arthropods that they have jointed legs. No antenna. Body is divided into two parts, cephalothorax and abdomen. So head and thorax is joined together to form cephalothorax and abdomen. So over here we had head, thorax, and abdomen. So this head and thorax joined together to form cephalothorax and abdomen. So body is divided into cephalothorax. Do you understand what cephalothorax is? It's the head and thorax joined together and abdomen. Last you have is your myriapods. Myriapods. These are usually your centipedes and millipedes. So the body, you guys know that they're arthropods that consists of many similar segments. So the body consists of many similar segments. Body consists of many similar segments. You might have seen a centipede or a millipede. You know how many segments do they have? Each of their body segment has jointed legs. So imagine how many legs will they have. Each of their body segment has jointed legs. And they have one pair of antenna. Are these four groups clear?
Yes.
All of you? Ahmed, Ibrahim, Umar, Saad.
His crustaceans will have only pair of legs, or it can be more than that.
Crustaceans, usually, they have, it's more than four, right? So they can have more as well. So, like, crabs and all, so it's more than four as well. It depends, what lice, crabs, lobsters, it varies. So I said more than four. Four are must, more than four can happen. Okay? Let's add.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. Alright. Zoya, Alia, all good, all clear. Everyone's clear?
Miss,
Yes.
the crustaceans is an example of like crab as well, but that can live outside the water, so it's not really aquatic.
Yeah, so I said many are aquatic, okay? So they breathe through gills, right? So they don't have lungs, so they cannot live on land
Oh,
because it is must that they breathe through gills, okay? So it's a mixture of land and aquatic, right? So maybe sometimes they're on, like, how you have dolphins, like how they come out of water to breathe.
yes.
So please note this down. We're gonna move on. All right, I'll wait another minute and then I'll move on. But is everyone done? Alia, Saad, Ahmed, Ibrahim, Umar.
Done, miss.
Yes, miss.
Okay, Ibrahim, Umar, done. Let's move on then. All right. Note this down. Done with this as well.
No, just give me a minute.
Okay, okay, sure, sure. All right, done.
I'm done.
Rest of you.
I'm done.
All right, then let's move on. I hope everyone's done. Now let's talk about plants. So now we're talking about ferns. So ferns are plants that with leaves that are called fronds. So plants with leaves called fronds that are called fronds. Very important. Okay. They do not produce flowers, but basically they reproduce by means of spores that are on the underside of fronds. So they reproduce by means of spores. I think everyone has seen ferns, right? Okay, most ferns are quite small, but some species can also be very tall. Okay, and they do not produce flowers. Okay, now let's talk about flowering plants. So these were non-flowering because they do not produce flowers. Obviously, these are your flowering plants now. So again, we know flowering plants, right? Because as the name suggests, they produce flowers. They reproduce by producing flowers. All right, so they are plants. They have proper transport system. So they have roots, stems, and leaves. Roots, stems, and leaves. Sorry, 1 second. One note just glitched. Give me a second. Let's t-shirt it. All right, here. Okay, reproduce using flowers and seeds. Okay, and seeds are produced inside an ovary in the flower. All right. Now, flowering plants can be divided into two groups that are basically called dicotyledons and monocotyledons. Divided into two groups, dicotyledons and monocotyledons. Important thing. Okay, so these names refer to the structure of the seeds. Okay, so the seeds of your flowering plants contain seed leaves, or they're also called cotyledons. So cotyledons basically your seed leaves. All right. Monocotyledons, that is monocots for short, they have one cotyledon in the seed. Dicotyledons, as the name suggests, dicots, they have two cotyledons in their seeds. So let's talk about the features of monocots and dicots. So first, dicots. Short, they're called dicots, and monocots. So seed with two cotyledons, obviously as the name suggests. Seed with two cotyledons. Usually have a main root with side roots coming out of it. Usually have a main root with side root coming out of it. Side roots coming out of it. Then they have leaves, and the leaves have network of veins. Leaves have a network of veins. Flower parts, basically petals, are in multiples of 4 or 5. Are in multiples of 4 or 5. And they have vascular bundles in the stem that are arranged in a ring. I hope you understand vascular bundles, xylem and phloem. This is all of these features are going to help you when you talk about the chapters of plant reproduction and all, and plant nutrition. In the stem are arranged in a ring. Are arranged in a ring. Okay, now let's change these points so that you guys understand that there's nothing. You don't need to learn it, just learn any one, and the other will be the complete opposite of it. Let's see. So monocots. Sorry. So let's change the points. Firstly, seed with two cotyledons. This will have seed with one cotyledon. Okay, usually have main root. Sorry, I forgot to add root. So in this, you will say root grow directly out of stem. Okay, so roots grow directly out of stem. There's no main and side root. Okay, so roots grow directly out of stem. Roots grow out directly from this stem. Okay, leaves have network of veins. In this, the leaves have parallel veins. In those petals were in a multiple of 4 or 5. Over here, flower parts are in multiples of 3. Okay, vascular bundles in the stem are arranged in the ring. Over there, they are arranged randomly. Is this clear? So I changed these points so that you can understand that you just need to flip them, except for the part of roots. They grow out directly from the stem. Over there, they were main and side roots. Let's just network of veins, parallel veins, multiples of 4 and 5, multiples of 3, arranged in a ring, arranged randomly, and 2 cotyledons, and they have 1 cotyledon. Let's add root here. I'm sorry, I forgot. Clear? Any questions?
No questions.
Is everyone clear?
Miss, aren't we so
Clear,
also
miss.
supposed to know about the xylem vessels?
The vascular bundles?
The
Yes, they are
xylem
with
vessels.
vascular bundles include both xylem and phloem. What are you asking about? Specifically about xylem?
Yes.
See, vascular bundles contain both xylem and phloem. So, when we will talk about your transport in plants, I'll show you how they are arranged. Alright? They are in a ring, and in some plants, like the monocots, they are arranged randomly. Okay, we'll see over there, inshallah. Right? So, vascular bundles include both xylem and phloem. Remember this.
But aren't xylem and phloem like they have opposite? One of them is arranged in a ring while the other is scattered.
Now, see, in different plants, like when I talk about monocots and dicots, they're arranged differently. Alright, like as in a ring arrangement, I'll show you one second. I'll show you a monocot and dicot once again. Just copy a diagram. Monocot. Let me see if I can find a good one. Yeah, this looks good. One second. So, let me just copy this. Yes. See, oh yeah. See, this is monocot arranged randomly. Dicot, look at them in the circular arrangement. Is this clear now?
Yes, thank you.
No problem. So we're going to discuss this in detail in transport in plants, all right? Now, last thing for discussion today is your viruses. Let's quickly go over them as well. Viruses. Over everything else. Okay. So we have talked about, and we've always, heard that your diseases are caused by viruses. They are called, they cause your normal, common diseases like colds and influenza and serious ones like AIDS as well. All right, everything that I've named are caused by viruses. So they're usually considered non-living because they cannot survive outside the host cell. They are considered living once they enter the host cell, right? And the only characteristic of life that they show is reproduction. That too inside your host cell. All right, so they can just make copies of themselves. So they are basically considered on the border of living and non-living, right? So once they invade your body, they make their own copies, and then when the cell dies, then they're burst, and more virus copies go and infect other cells, right? So the host cell is usually killed when this happens, right? So on their own, viruses cannot move, feed, excrete, show sensitivity, grow, reproduce. So they do not show 7 characteristics of life. That's why we call them that they are on the border of living and non-living. They're on the border of living and non-living. And they only reproduce inside living cell, inside the host cell. Inside host, which is obviously living. This is the characteristic of life that they show, that too inside your host cell. All right, and it's basically just a piece of genetic material inside them that is surrounded by a protein coat. Okay, and it has a protein coat outside it. Right, and that too, this protein coat is also not their own. They basically steal it from the host cell they're infecting. So they take the cell surface membrane of the host that they infected and put it on themselves. Okay. Okay. Plus, they have genetic material now that can be in the form of DNA or RNA. All right. Let me just show you an image. This is the most simplest one I could find for your level. All right. See, this is your envelope. There are proteins on the envelope. Okay. These are also for recognition. This is a viral genome. It's either DNA or RNA. And then you have some enzymes present inside them. And then this is a capsid. Okay, the basically the protein code is made up of capsulars, and they cause viral diseases. Okay, only characteristic of life that just show that too inside your host cell is your reproduction, making copies of themselves. Is this clear?
Yes.
Any questions, anyone? Yes, Umar. Sorry, I did not see the chat. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I cannot see the chat. I see it when I open it. Okay, let me see. Okay, anyone else any question? Okay, you asked, is parasite a virus? See, parasites they're not, like, if you ask me for a definitive statement, no, they're not viruses. Okay, so they're a type of organism that benefit from your host while they're negatively impacting it. Okay, so parasites is some other group. They're not bacteria, they are not virus. Okay, but they are part of eukaryotes. All right, there are many cells, they share many features with human cells as well. Like they have a nucleus. They're larger than bacteria, but they're neither bacteria nor virus. Right, it's a separate group. All right. Is this clear, Umar?
Miss, do we need to memorize
Yes.
the diagram?
Not exactly. Just remember that they have DNA and RNA, and they have a protein code, and they have nothing else. And just remember that that they show no characteristic of life except for making copies, reproduction. That too happens inside the host cell. Otherwise, outside they have nothing. They are non-living. All right, Claire. Anyone else? Any questions? All good. Ahmed, Ibrahim, Zoya, all good. All Claire. Ibrahim, all good. Claire.
Yes.
Okay, great. So please note this down. And with this, we are done with the first chapter. Alhamdulillah. Tomorrow, inshallah, we are going to start off with our chapter 2. Okay, note this down, please. Yes, I will upload the recordings on Google Classroom. I will upload them tonight, inshallah. Yesterday's and today's both. No, sorry, I will upload them on the in the drive. I think I pasted the link yesterday. Yes, I'll upload them in the drive, okay? Because in classroom, I'll upload them in the drive, okay? Because all the previous recordings are there as well. Okay, sir? I'll upload them in the drive. You have the link, right? I think you asked me for access as well. Rest of you, everyone has the drive link and the classroom link. Okay, well, do you ask me for access? I think I remember. Okay, fine. I'll post the link again. 1 second. Everyone else has the link for classroom and drive. If not, tell me. I'll paste them again in the chat box. Okay, should I scroll down? Yeah. Please note this down as well. Okay, I'm pasting the link for drive first. Where is it? Google Drive. Alright, done. Is everyone done? Any
Done,
questions?
miss.
Alright, rest of you, any questions? Anything which is not clear? But I pasted the link in the chat box, right, for the drive. Recordings will be posted there, inshallah. Alright, then if you all are done and there are no further questions, that's all for today. Tomorrow, inshallah, we're going to start off with chapter 2. And we're going to continue from there. Of virus, Umar, or monocot, dicot? Okay, virus here. Yes. Okay, Ibrahim. Okay, Ibrahim, I accepted your request. Alright, done everyone? Clear? Any questions? All good? Alright then, I'll see you in the next class, inshallah. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz.